Hi, I'm Cara Fraser. I'm a yoga teacher in the beautiful Orange County, California. I'm originally from Texas, so the fact that I can come to the beach and do yoga is absolutely amazing. I pinch myself every day. And so I filmed this beginner series at the beach because I thought it was a beautiful setting, someplace that's very calming and soothing, and it's a great place to get an introduction to yoga. So in this series, we'll be introduced to breath, which is really important in a yoga practice, to sun salutations, which is a way that we link our breath to movement, and then some of the poses in yoga, some of the easier poses. Sometimes going into a yoga class at a studio or a gym can be incredibly intimidating because there can be lots of people. The teacher can be asking you to do things with your body that are completely unusual and unfamiliar, and it can be kind of scary. So I wanted to develop this series, one, so you're not as intimidated if you go to a class, two, if you don't have time to get to a studio, or three, if you've been practicing for a while and you would like a gentler practice. This is a nice, easy practice. Most of them are 20 to 30 minutes each, nice and slow and gentle. So really anyone could do this series. I will say this, please listen to your body. If something doesn't feel good or if it hurts, just don't do it. That's the one drawback to not being in a class where you have an instructor that can watch you and help you in certain poses. So if something doesn't feel good, just don't do it. And just go to child's pose or come to a comfortable seated position until the video progresses to the next pose and you can move on from there. So I hope you have a good time. This has been a lot of fun for me to put together. Obviously, I'm in this beautiful setting and I wanted to share it with you. And if you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section for the video. And please subscribe to my channel. Have fun and don't take this too seriously. Hi, I'm Cara Fraser and welcome to my beginner yoga series. I'm in beautiful Orange County, California. I am a Texas girl, and the fact that I can come to the beach and do yoga is a beautiful thing. I am so grateful for it and wanted to share it with you during this series. So I hope you enjoy it. Today we're going to do two things. The first is we are going to focus on breath and learn what we call Ujjayi Pranayama, or Ujjayi breath. It's a type of breath that we engage during our yoga practice. And once you get the hang of it, it really is nice. It warms the body, has a very subtle sound to it. And so this sound helps you to kind of find a rhythm and a flow in your practice. So we'll learn that first, and then we'll move into what we call sun salutations. And sun salutations, we use that Ujjayi breath and we link movement to breath. So what I mean by that is we may say inhale the arms up, exhale heart center. So as you move, you take the whole breath for the movement. And sun salutations also are a great way to warm the body. They also have a soothing, calming, meditative effect, which is really nice in your practice. And there are different variations of sun salutations. There are traditional ones, and then you can have a lot of different variations. So I'll introduce you to a couple different ones today. But if you go to a yoga class, you might find that you see all different kinds of things. So the first thing we'll do today is focus on breath, since it's such an important part of our yoga practice. We'll start in Sukhasana, which is a comfortable seated position. Shins cross at the center, and you make a triangle space in between your legs. And then rock forward and backward along your sit bones. There are those two bony points down there. And see as you rock, go a little less until you get to the center of the sit bones. When you do that, notice how when you root down, the chest and the head come up, the torso gets long, the shoulders stack over the hips, and the head stacks over the shoulders. So it's a nice position to kind of get good posture. So palms can be down or up, whatever feels most comfortable for you, and it may change day to day. And then close your eyes. And here, just start to notice your breath. We're so fortunate that we don't have to think about our breath on a daily basis. Otherwise, we would all die. But in our yoga practice, we really draw attention to the breath. So I bet you probably have never sat and just noticed how your breath feels. So notice on the inhalation what expands. Maybe the belly and the ribs. And then on the exhalation, notice what contracts. As you start to focus on the breath, maybe it starts to slow down. Maybe you start to feel more relaxed. And then take your right hand to your chest and the left hand to your belly. And just keep focusing on the breath and notice how it feels. I think you can get a really good sense of the breath when you can feel it with your hands like this. And then you can bring the hands back to the legs. And we'll start to practice Ujjayi breath. You can keep your eyes closed if you want to kind of watch me. There's really nothing to see, but you can do that if you're more comfortable. So first I want you to inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose again. Very simple. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. This time, inhale through the nose again. Exhale out the mouth like you're fogging a mirror. Notice that sound. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, fog the mirror. Now this time, inhale through the nose again and exhale out the nose. You're gonna keep that slight constriction in your throat that you found when you were exhaling through the mouth and fogging the mirror. So the Ujjayi breath is inhale and exhale through the nose with that slight constriction. You'll hear a little sound, and I find a lot of people when they're new, the sound is really big and it kind of fills the whole room. But it should really be very subtle. When we open the mouth, it's kind of loud just so you can get the sense of what it feels like and what it sounds like. But then once you close it, see if you can make it more subtle. So you would hear it. If you were in a class, maybe your neighbor would hear it, but that's about it. So it becomes very soothing and calming, like I said. So if you're new, you probably won't be able to keep this breath as you start moving because you're figuring out what you're doing with your body, and that's okay. It takes a lot of time to keep connected to this breath. But over time, if you can, you'll notice it'll change the quality of the movement, the quality of your practice, and like I said, it has a really soothing nature, I've found. So we're gonna do a little warm up here and then we'll move into sun salutations. So cross over the shins and come into tabletop. This is a pretty common position here. Here you want the shoulders over the wrist, keep the fingers spread wide, and then hips over knees. And then the tops of the feet press into the mat. So a lot of times the foot rolls into the big toe side. So see if you can press the pinky toe side of the foot into the mat as much as the big toe side. So the tops of the feet press into the mat. And then we'll take a couple rounds of what we call cat-cow. It's a nice way to warm up the back. So you're gonna inhale, a lot of people dump the belly. Instead of doing that, pull the chest forward through the arms, get length to lift, look forward. Keep the belly lifting and extend the tailbone. So the arch comes from the mid-back, not from the low back. It helps protect the low back. On the exhale, you'll press into the hands, round the upper back, and then drop the head. This is called cat pose. So inhale, come forward, pull the chest forward. Exhale, round the upper back, drop the head. Inhale, come forward. exhale round. Inhale forward, and exhale round. Inhale, come back to a neutral spine, and exhale, sit back child's pose. So bring the big toes together, sit the hips to the heels. In child's pose, the knees can be together or apart. It's really personal preference what feels good, and I found for me, I just change it based on how I'm feeling for the day or based on what I'm practicing. So once you're there, the arms will extend out, palms on the mat, and forehead down. If you want, you could bring the arms by the legs. This is also a good option. In yoga, child's pose is a resting pose. So at any point in any class, you're always welcome to take child's pose, especially in these videos if you're new. Some of this may be hard for you, or maybe if you have an injury and something doesn't feel good, you can come here and take a break. Always do what feels good for your body. It's not worth hurting yourself over a yoga practice. And if you really want to practice for a long time, you want to take good care of your body. So you can rest here at any time. Inhale, come up to table. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. This is what we call downward facing dog. So in down dog, hands or shoulders distance apart. They may be a little wider for some people. Feet are about hips distance apart, and you're trying to make this L shape with the body. So bring the knees down for just a second. I want to show you what I see a lot in down dog with newer students. I see the weight of the body in the hands, and the goal is to have equal weight in the feet and hands, but it's kind of hard to figure that out. So notice how my shoulders are over my wrist and my back is rounded. You see this a lot. So think of pressing into the base of the fingers, palms of the hands, lift the hips up towards the sky and pull the chest back towards the legs. See the difference here? I'm making an L shape with the body. And then slowly walk the feet up to the front of the mat for a forward fold. So here, again, if you're new, a full forward fold might be a little too intense for you, especially if you have tight hamstrings, which a lot of people do. So if you have yoga blocks, you could bring your hands to those blocks, but you may not have it since you're probably new. You could bring a chair to the front of your mat and bring your hands to that chair, either the seat of the chair or even the back of the chair, and just start to kind of lean forward that way. So in this forward fold, a lot of people lean back in the heels. So lean forward into the toes, equal weight between heels and toes. You can have a little bend in the knees if you need to, or straighten the knees. So press into the feet, lift the hips up, and then drop the top of the head towards the mat. Inhale, lift the torso up halfway. Bring the hands to the shins or thighs, or again, you could bring them to a chair. Lift the belly here, extend the tailbone back, and reach the chest forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press into the feet, bring the arms out to the side, long spine. Come all the way up, reach to the fingertips. And exhale, hands to heart center. So that was our warm-up. We're gonna move into the sun salutations now. And you've actually just did a bunch of the poses that comprise the sun salutation. So there's a reason I did that. So the first sun salutation is very easy. It's a quarter sun salutation. You'll start with the hands at heart center. And then inhale, bring the arms out to the side, reach to the fingertips, bring the arms by the ears. And then exhale, palms together, hands heart center. Easy, right? Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, heart center. Inhale, up. Exhale, heart center. Now we're going to add on to that. This is called a half sun salute. And actually, before we do that, let's talk about Tadasana when we start. So this is mountain pose. You want the big toes to be together, heels slightly apart, outer edges of the feet parallel to the sides of the mat. That may not feel good for everybody. If it doesn't, you can bring the feet hips distance apart here. Wherever you are, root down into the feet, all four corners of the feet. What I mean by that is the big toe mound, little toe mound, as I lose my balance, and inner and outer heel. So as you press through the feet, lift the chest and the head up, and then notice if you're getting a little arch in the back. So press the tailbone down, lift the belly, spread through the collarbone so you're not rounding, soften the shoulders, and then reach the fingertips down. So half sun salute now. Inhale, bring the arms up by the ears. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, pull the chest forward, long spine, forward fold, drop the head. Inhale, lift up halfway, lift the belly. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press into the feet, bring the arms out to the sides, reach to the fingertips. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. And exhale, hands to heart center. And I love the half sun salute because I think it's really easy. And I find if I get stressed out, I may just find the corner in my house or somewhere I am, even if it's in public, if I can hide. And I may do that. There's something really calming about that with the breath and the movement. So you could just do that and see how it feels for you. So let's add on to that. Come back to Tadasana. Inhale, bring the arms up by the ears. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, long spine. Exhale, plant the hands, just step straight back to downward facing dog. We'll take 3 full breaths here. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Now you're gonna walk the feet up to the hands. So you can take one big step and come into a lunge. If you're not ready for that, you can just take baby steps. Come up to the forward fold. This is called Uttanasana in Sanskrit. Inhale, lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up, reach through the fingertips. Exhale, hands to heart center, Samasthiti. Now adding on to that for what we call Surya Namaskar A or Sun Salutation A. And you can actually do really 2 versions of this, and I'm going to do the easier version today, and maybe later on down the line I'll introduce the more challenging version. So we'll start back in Tadasana, mountain pose. Press through the feet, lift the chest and the head up. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank, top of a push-up, shoulders over wrists, and then drop the knees to the mat. Now here, bring the hips forward. So there's a long line from the back of the head to the back of the knees. So instead of the butt out, come forward, lift the hip bones to the low ribs, draw the belly in towards the spine, and then hug the elbows and come down to the belly. Keep the hands by the low ribs. Press the tops of the feet in the mat. Remember, pinky toe side of the feet, and then lift the hip bones up. Now moving into what we call cobra. Instead of lifting straight up, I want you to think of pulling your chest to the front of the mat and then lifting. So you'll inhale, get length to lift shoulders and head. Exhale, lower down, press through table. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Now traditionally in Sun Salutations, we take 5 breaths. But since this is a beginner series, I thought we would shorten it just a little bit, make it a little easier, because down dog's hard when you're new. And then walk the feet up to the hands, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. And exhale, hands to heart center. And so that's the Sun Salutation A. There's also a Sun Salutation B. I'm not going to introduce it quite yet. It's a little longer and it takes a little more. You come into a standing pose, and I find that new people kind of struggle with it. So this is a great place to start. And let's just do a little cool down really fast. So come back to Tadasana. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, step back for down dog. And then drop the knees for table, cross the shins, come back to seated. Bring the soles of the feet together. This is called Baddha Konasana. This is sometimes enough of a stretch for people if their hips are tight, so you could just hang out right here and get a stretch there. Otherwise, inhale, lift the chest, and exhale, hinge forward from the hips, long spine, keep pulling the chest to the front of the room. And notice if you're breathing. I find in some of these static poses where we're holding, especially if it's a hard one, if you feel tight in the hips, that people sometimes hold the breath. So keep the breath long, steady, and soft. And then inhale, long spine, come all the way up. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat, knees bent. Make sure you're at the front of the mat. Extend the arms. Inhale, get tall. And exhale, very slowly roll down. Hug the knees into the chest. Inhale, lift the forehead to the knees. Give yourself a hug. Exhale, lower the head down. And then take the legs out straight, setting up for Shavasana. We end every class like this. Legs are hips distance apart. Feet just splay out comfortably. Arms by the sides, palms facing up, and eyes closed. And here in Shavasana, just let your breath be natural again. Notice how you feel after taking those sun salutations, moving with the breath. I find for some people, Shavasana is probably the hardest pose in their yoga practice because we're so busy all the time that we never find time to be still. And usually in a class, I'll hold Shavasana for 5 to 10 minutes. And that's a long time for some people. They start to fidget and they just can't stand it. So try to keep your body still here. I find whatever's happening with the body is also happening with the mind. So our physical practice prepares us for this stillness, for this time to be present, and to clear our minds from the everyday clutter. You're welcome to stay here as long as you want. Maybe pause the video. Otherwise, start to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Circle the ankles and wrists. Reach the arms up overhead, stretch from fingertips to toes. And roll off to the right side. Pause there. Maybe rest the head on the right arm. And then press into your left hand, push yourself up to seated. Again, a comfortable cross-legged position, eyes closed, hands at heart center. We end every yoga class by saying Namaste, which means that the light in me honors the light in you. May you have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.